It's a football Saturday in the SEC. Here is the starting lineup. The man with the golden voice, sports savant, Keefer. One of Birmingham's all-time most multi-talented, iconic broadcasters, Tony Curry. Four-time champion Paul Feinbaum show caller contributor, the legend. The illustrious First Lady of SEC football, Terry Quillian. Award-winning national sports handicapper from Las Vegas, Case Keefer. And now, let's talk football.
Welcome back to another starting lineup. We are coming near the end of the college football season. That makes us sad, but you know what? You're still going to see us here every single Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. We're getting ready for March Madness. We got Super Bowl stuff coming up, NFL action, and more. Always here for college football, my friend.
Well, college football is winding down and the drama is increasing every single day. Tony, we are in for a wild ride these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we thought that, by expanding it from 4 to 12, that everyone who had a shot to get in, and really what it does is it makes it even murkier because there's not that big of a difference between a 12 and a 13. There is between sometimes a 4 and a 5. For example, we have a team right now that is in the top 5 that's a double-digit dog this weekend in the Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah. The game of the year, the game of the week, Indiana, Ohio State, it's up to like 14 now.
And, by the way, Indiana is 0-30-1 the last 31 games against Ohio State.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
This team has played no one. Go back and look at their schedule. They've played powerhouses like Charlotte and Florida International. And in the Big Ten, my partner on radio, Terry Quillian, pointed out very correctly this week that there are so many games in the Big Ten that are cupcake games in their own conference.
Yep.
Purdue, Northwestern, I can go on and on. All of them are terrible teams. So, I don't want to hear about their extra conference game. I don't want to hear all the propaganda that the Big Ten is on equal footing. It's just a joke. Indiana in the SEC would be a 500 team at best, in my opinion.
Well, the only thing is, though, and I will say this, is we love chaos. We absolutely love chaos.
We do like that.
And last year, we finally got some chaos because we had an undefeated FSU squad that did not make the playoffs, which everyone thought was a farce. And, of course, look at what they've done this year. Of course, they didn't have their quarterback back either. But you look at the last, say, 6 or 7 years when we're in this week 13, we're looking for chaos. We're looking for things to happen. And what normally happens, things play their way out. That's why I think Maryland has a shot against Penn State.
Next week,
I think there's going to be a lot of games over the next couple of weeks. I think the cream will rise, and I think you'll see some of those teams fall out. Because if you are in Indiana and you get blown out by 40 against Ohio State, they're going to fall out pretty far.
Well, some of my picks coming up later in the show are going to be chaotic. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what...
6-0 last week, baby.
Hey.
6-0 right here. We're catching up now.
Kip and Tony, a clean slate last week. 3-0.
It's our flipping show. We should be doing better.
We both were on the Georgia Bulldogs, which, much to the regret of one of our partners on our K4 show, Kai Gregory, we declared the best bet of the week.
Yes.
Sorry, Kai. See you, Rocky Top. But let me just say this about chaos. The chaos is increased, Tony, because we have a committee that flies in on Thursdays, drinks, eats, lives it up for 3 or 4 days on I don't know whose dime, and then just mails in some ridiculous picks and rankings that are not based on anything that makes any sense. I'm calling this committee now a different thing, a.k.a. the Village Idiots. They're not considering strength of schedule because, Tony, according to the chairman, that wouldn't be fair to the teams because they don't make their own schedules.
Yeah.
What? So it doesn't matter who you play, where you play them. It's kind of an NFL model. They're going more by records, and it's just absurd. And the SEC right now is on the receiving end of really, for to be blunt, being screwed.
Yeah, 5 teams right now in the top 12. I will say this, though, and again, I think things will work their way out.
Yeah.
I think the committee looks at an Indiana that's undefeated at Penn State that obviously is having a great season. They haven't played anybody either, and it seems like everyone in the Big Ten hasn't played anybody now that Michigan sucks and no one wants to play them. But I think eventually things do play their way out. And so if they can give an Indiana a top 5 ranking, knowing that Indiana is not a top 5 team, go ahead and give it to them because I think it will work its way out.
Yeah. And, then you got Penn State also in this conversation, who hasn't beaten Ohio State or Michigan in centuries. They, of course, lost their compulsory game to Ohio State, but they still stay number 4, which is baffling to me. They don't even play Michigan this year, their other team, who's just a 500 team. Their schedule is really embarrassing. You know what their best win is? USC Trojans, who are 5-4, I think, right now. That's their marquee win of the year. It is just a joke, and I hope you're right, Tony. I hope some of this works itself out. I do think we're going to see some teams that they're assuming are going to advance are going to get knocked off here in these next 2 weeks.
By the way, we take no holidays off. Black Friday going on next weekend. Of course, next Saturday we'll be right here getting ready for the Iron Bowl. Iron Bowl weekend. It's going to be it's rivalry weekend. We'll be here right here on Thanksgiving weekend, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. Give us the marquee games now for this week.
Let's roll. Marquee matchup. I'm holding my nose. Ohio State hosting Indiana. The game of the year. A 14.5-point spread. Yes. But the game of the year. Indiana never beats Ohio State. Anybody who thinks Indiana's legitimate, I think you're going to see today that they have played a real weak schedule. I think Ohio State, a $20 million payroll, basically the best team college football money can buy. I think this is going to be an absolute blowout. And I hope if Ohio State lays about a 63-3 on them, I hope Indiana doesn't drop to like 6th or 7th, or I'm really going to be outraged next week. Let's go to the SEC, because that's where always the marquee games are, really. And in the SEC, both teams in state have big roles to play today. The Auburn Tigers can be the ultimate spoiler the next 2 weeks, because they've got 2 potential playoff teams.
And by the way, at the end of the year, you don't ever want to be called a spoiler.
No, you don't want to.
That means your season is wasted.
But you can your last couple of games are relevant because you're a major player in the whole drama. Texas A&M comes into Auburn today. The Aggies have been kind of sketchy. They've gotten by. They have not played a single one of the top 6 teams in the SEC. The other 5, Texas A&M hasn't played any of them.
They're 8-2, but 3-7 against the spread, so they're not doing as well as they should have.
They're phony. We saw BYU. We told you last week they were phony. Tony and I both had the Kansas Jayhawks to knock them off. It's a situation where I think they're going to be found out today, and I think Auburn's got a real opportunity to make some noise on the Plains. Alabama, meantime, you think, oh, well, it's just a trip to Oklahoma. Oklahoma. When you looked at this game in the preseason, it looked like a real tough spot for Alabama to go this late in the year. Oklahoma's been terrible, but don't discount the fact that this is a road game in the SEC. It's not a given. Alabama's got to continue to play the way they've been playing, or they're vulnerable in Norman.
And it is a week before that Iron Bowl.
It is.
Not that Coach Kalen DeBoer would be looking ahead, but it is his first Iron Bowl, and all he's getting is chatter in his ear right now.
Yeah, I think Kalen DeBoer would much rather be playing Mercer again this week than going to Oklahoma. And the other game is another big game that I think has the most beautiful irony in the world. Remember in week 4, Paul Feinbaum and the SEC Nation people were at Florida for the game against Texas A&M, and all the people behind him while he was doing the show was, "We want Lane. We want Lane." They were ready to run Billy Napier out of town. They wanted Lane Kiffin at all costs. How ironic, Tony, is Lane Kiffin's playoff hopes now on the line with this trip to Florida? They're calling for Lane, and now Billy Napier has the chance to knock Lane out of the game. So,
and having a nice victory last week for the Florida Gators.
They did.
They got up to shine a little bit, and this would be a great another spoiler game for
with
SEC.
Lagway back, this team is legitimate.
Yeah.
So let's watch out and see what happens. Like Tony says, there could be a lot of chaos. Tony, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm looking at that stinkeroo game, that Indiana-Ohio State, and I've seen this before. This is the 15th time in college football in postseason or regular season where a top 5 team has been a double-digit dog.
Unbelievable.
14 times so far. Do you know what that number is against the spread?
I bet it's almost perfect.
It is 4-10 against the spread. So those double-digit dogs get actually smoked. This is the first time, of course, that Indiana is a dog for all season, and a huge dog, and they're against the spread perfect on the road too this year. And the other thing is, we mentioned 31 games in a row now, unbeaten streak for Ohio State. They're 30-0-1 against Indiana, so it's going to be a major day. We're going to see what happens. And again, Ohio State right now, best odds to win a national championship at 3-1. Let's go to the legend, see who he likes.
Oh, right here, Monty. That's Monty Bauer. There ain't but one marquee matchup for me today. I don't care about the rest. Alabama, Oklahoma, it's a playoff game. Get down, Alabama, kick some Sooner butt. Now on to Case Keefer.
I know this week's set of games may not look like much compared to last week's blockbuster slate or even next week's schedule of primetime showdowns, but tread lightly. Be careful. If I was forced to make a betting pick on each of these marquee games, and I do at LasVegasSun.com, where my college football by the odds column is 140, 103, and 3, picking every football bowl subdivision game on the year, I'm taking every one of these underdogs with the points this week. Doesn't necessarily mean I'd bet them all, but I do think there could be some upheaval. If you're going to pin me down and make me take one out of this sets of games, gives me Arkansas plus 13.5 at least for a nibble. If this gets to 14, then make it a full-fledged bite. I think if the Razorbacks can just calm down a little bit, stop making so many mistakes, they can give the Volunteers some real trouble.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
So in the Coach's Corner this week, we have Hugh Freeze. Gosh, I feel like groaning just saying Hugh Freeze. And part of that is the way Hugh looks in his post-game press conference on Saturday and then in his big press conference on Monday. He has the most dejected hangdog look. One Auburn fan described the way he looked as, looks like Hugh's been on a 3-day bender when he walks into that press conference. I know that's not the case, but he sort of does look that way. Now, Hugh says that he's very sensitive to the criticism that he's been throwing his players under the bus. But he just can't help himself. So he starts out by saying, this is not about the players. This is not about them. They, did a wonderful job. They just didn't execute well enough. Then he goes on to say that his coaching staff put together the best game plan ever, the best game plan he'd ever seen. But the team just didn't execute well enough. He gets about 2 minutes into the press conference when he goes full bore on throwing the players under the bus by saying, I think you're all aware of what it is that we inherited. Our AD has done a marvelous job of explaining that, just as he explained that to me when I took this job. So let me get this straight, Hugh. The reason that you lead the SEC with 15 interceptions and only second nationally in the number of interceptions is because of a talent gap on your team. That's not your fault because you're only in your second year here. Just one problem, Hugh, that doesn't really hold water because 24/7 Sports ranks Auburn on the talent index at number 18. And let's see, you lost to Arkansas that's ranked number 26 and you lost to Cal that's ranked number 47. So is it really that you just don't have enough talent because you're only in your second year? And Hugh, you got an even bigger problem. Your arch nemesis, Alabama, is coached by Kalen DeBoer, who took over a Washington team that was a 4-8 team. And in 2 years, he had that team playing in the national championship. So Hugh, buck up. Auburn fans deserve better.
Every single week when you tune into the starting lineup here with Kip and Tony, you see some other people on the scene, and those are really smart business people that know how to spend their money because they know this show is rocking. Just like Teresa Autry with Expert Realty, 294-4210. She's unbelievable. She does a fantastic work with Expert Realty right there in Hoover. Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828 for all your staffing needs. The Woodhouse Day Spa. I think Santa Claus is going to take care of you. Stuart Rowe, as a matter of fact, just celebrated his 60th birthday this week.
Gift certificate, solid gold for the holidays.
No doubt, and they've got a special deal now for Black Friday where it's $7 for the price of $5. $7 for the price of $5 coming up here on Black Friday at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And of course, our newest Spy for Rent, Spy, the number 4, rent.com, 790-3051. They are the best surveillance, divorces, child custody, you name it. If you need a PI, go get it done at Spy for Rent.
Sounds good. I hope you caught the show this morning on Jocks 94.5. Kip and Terry Game Time, featuring the legend every week. Legend comes on with his Alabama thoughts, and he'll be in the cave here in just a bit on the show. It's going to be fantastic watching how everything unfolds, and we get you ready for kickoff every week. And we come right back on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock with The Morning After, which is an 8-year running show, one of the most popular sports shows in Birmingham. Kip and Terry also on the job there. We've got just a lineup of all-star callers every week, including next week's guest here on the show, Don, the ultimate Auburn fan, and all kinds of other great people from all over the country. So these two shows are absolute. You can't miss them if you really want to be up to date with everything that's happening in college football. And if you ever do miss a show, you can always go to kqshows.com, and at your fingertips, links to every single program that we produce.
All right, here in the Legend Cave, Monty Barrett with the great pass where few men have ever stood, but Tony Curry and Kip Keefer, they family, they always get in the cave. Y'all know what time it is this week, Alabama. It is a playoff game. There's no room to lose, Tony. Tell me about it. What Alabama got to do to dominate today?
It's going to happen sooner or later, and it's going to happen sooner. It's going to happen this weekend, my friend.
What kind of mindset do they have to have, T?
I think they just can't look forward too fast. DeBoer's already talking about the Iron Bowl. He's already getting questions about that. Just one day at a time. One day at a time. As long as he looks forward, I think we're in good shape.
Woo, I'm shaking. I'm getting a little nervous. I don't know why, T, made me a little nervous. Kip, bring me back to reality. Alabama's got this one, ain't we, Kip? We got this, ain't we?
1, 2, 3, 4, pressure! And this is what it's all about right now. You've got to show up. You've got to be the class team in the game. You can't make mistakes. You can't keep them with hope. So I like the Tide to take care of business.
You heard it right here. I want to tell you, Alabama, it don't get no bigger than this. You cannot allow that win at LSU to go down the drain by letting up and letting Oklahoma beat you tonight. Coach DeBoer, you are on the brink. You are on the brink of getting a statue. Don't let it down. T, what does Coach DeBoer have to do tonight? What does he got to do?
I would like to see Jalen Miro run the football.
Come on,
design plays.
Preach, T, preach.
I want to see him.
The floor is yours. Preach.
I want to see him get over 80, 90 yards. 3 more touchdowns. That'll do for me.
What about you, Kipper? What do you see as the key tonight?
Chunk the ball. Get Hollywood back in the fold. Get him a couple of big plays. They've been trying to make him a possession receiver. Cut him loose like he did early in the year.
I want to tell y'all something. Right here on the starting lineup, we have the most powerful starting lineup in the nation. Power forward, shooting guard, point guard. We got Marty Boward off of Ballers on HBO. In the dugout, we going on. Alabama, get down tonight. Let's get out of here. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like the starting lineup.
Sports insane.
Hey, it's Case Keefer, assistant sports editor for Las Vegas Sun and Greenspun Media, sports betting writer, longtime sports bettor, back again for my Vegas Heaters segment, where I am proud to report we are living up to the name and red hot to start the year on college football picks in this segment. 12-8. You throw in the Monday Night Football bonus bets I've been giving. That improves all the way to 16-9. Throw everything on the show together that I've given. 22-13 on the year. And that's not even what I'm most excited about. As I alluded to in the first segment, 37 games above 500 in my college football by the odds segment. And right before this show transitioned, if you remember, the last thing I parted with was showing you my Heisman Trophy portfolio, or at least describing it. And let's just say last week was a good week if, like me, you took nice prices on Jalen Milroe and Travis Hunter. I wish they just had the Heisman Trophy voting now and we'd be making a windfall, but it's not that way. We got to keep going with the winners. We're going to go again this week with 3 college football plays, followed by a Monday Night Football bonus. I had to kind of force the theme this week, but the theme we are going with are old friends or teams that I just can't quit. All 3 of these sides we featured on the segment before. Only the last one came through for me. The first two lost, but I'm going to give them another shot this week. We are going to Louisville, the venue formerly known as Papa John Stadium, where Louisville is hosting SMU. I like SMU getting the 7. Look, the Mustangs let me down a bunch to start the season when I was backing them, and they were trying to pry something out of Preston Stone that unfortunately wasn't there anymore. He wasn't the same. Their quarterback that led them to the AAC title last year and got hurt hasn't been the same, but now they benched him. They put in Kevin Jennings, and it has been nothing but an uptick. This offense looks back to normal. I think from a talent standpoint, this is a really close game. Louisville in a tough spot coming off of that loss to Notre Dame last week. I think 7 is too much. Louisville a rightful favorite, but give me SMU plus 7. Now we go from a road underdog to a home underdog, and I hate that I have to bet this team, but as I mentioned in this column, I'm taking them every week. I just keep seeing value. It's let me down more times than not, but I have to go back to chomp the Florida Gators. Now this has been ping-ponging between 2.5 and 3 all week, them hosting UCF. I say wait and get a 3. I am taking Florida plus 3 against UCF. All UCF can really do is run the ball, and I don't hate Florida's rush defense as much as I hate their pass rush and some other things they're struggling with. Had a bye week last week. If the swamp counts for anything, if home field advantage matters at all, they should not be getting 3 points in this game. I think they're probably overall roster quality a little bit better than UCF, so Florida plus 3. Lastly, Old Reliable. This team has nothing to apologize for. I've been betting them every week. I think each of the last 3 weeks they've come through for me. We're going to do it again here. Texas Tech plus 6.5 at Arizona. Arizona is a team that is just high variance. I like taking them when they're an underdog. I was on them last week at Utah, but they can just as easily make a bunch of mistakes. Noah Fafita is a great quarterback, but a little careless with the ball. I think maybe Texas Tech snags a couple turnovers. They have been undervalued since a bad start to the season, and I think that needs to stop. I think this is a good team. Plus 6.5, too much, kind of in the vein of SMU. I don't expect them to win outright, but I do think this will be close in either team's game at the end. So SMU plus 7. We've got Florida plus 3. And Texas Tech plus 6.5 for the Monday Night Football game. I hate betting against the Chiefs every week, but I got to do it. Their running backs and receivers are just decimated. Probably the worst group in the league. Give me New Orleans plus 5.5. Best number right now. Take this all the way down to 4.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
Tony, it's time for Best Bets Upsets, and Tony Curry and I are riding the wave.
Yeah, baby.
6-0 between the two of us last week. 3 for 3. It was awesome. It was right on time. We were on fire last year at the end of the season. It only takes us a few weeks to get kind of acclimated.
You were 8-2. You went 2-1-2. You were 8-4.
Yeah, 8-4.
And you've been on fire. And everyone's been on fire. I've been bringing up the rear. Yeah. Someone's got to bring up the rear, but I will get about 500 before the end of the year.
You're right there. Yeah. You're right there. Legend and Case are duking it out for first. But then let's go to this week's games. I talked about chaos in the open. Tony talked about chaos. How chaotic are my picks? I like Virginia against SMU. The game is in Charlottesville. SMU's given up 9.5. And if you watched last week against Boston College, they're feeling the pressure a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, it was fun to be. We're in the ACC. We're just freewheeling. Now the implications are huge for the Mustangs. It's a road game. They're given 9.5. I think Virginia, who I picked to upset Pitt 2 weeks ago in an outright upset, I think Virginia at home is going to maybe beat SMU.
Like
that will be some real chaotic action. I also like another one that you might think I'm insane. Texas, who I think is the most glorified team. I think we should trade them to the Big Ten because they're getting that kind of treatment from them. They're a sacred cow for the committee. They really have a very unimpressive resume. I don't think the eye test for me is that good on Texas. They are hosting Kentucky, and you say, oh, that's going to be a walkover. Well, it's a 20.5 point spread. 20.5 points. In the SEC this year, Tony, I don't think on one hand you can count how many teams have been huge favorites that have covered. Kentucky's got some pride. They played Tennessee tough 2 weeks ago in Knoxville. I think they're going to keep this game close because I think Texas is feeling the pressure as well. And my upset of the week, it's going to be a popular choice with half the state. I kind of teased it a little bit. I think the Auburn Tigers rise up today on the Plains. War Eagle fly down the field and bite the Aggies right in the backside and really put a big chink in their playoff plans. Well, let's hear from the man who's probably not going to pick Auburn, but we'll find out what he likes. Legend, you're next.
Oh, David Legend is back at quarterback again. He done put me on the bench. And this week, the great David Legend, who's a legend down in Walker County, he likes SMU -9. He likes Ole Miss -10. And for his dog of the week, David Legend, the great legend down in Walker County, likes Wisconsin. That's Wisconsin, SMU, and Ole Miss from David Legend, who's back at quarterback. Joe Flacco has benched Anthony Richardson.
I'll get us started again here with the best bets and upset segment, where this week we are giving you 2 best bets, 1 outright upset, and all my picks are coming from here in the West. The Mountain West Conference, a league I've covered more than any other, has a special place in my heart. Hate to see it deteriorating, not going to be the same anymore, but one last tribute to the Mountain West, starting with the outright upset. Give me Hawaii over San Diego State. I think the wrong team might be favored here. Hawaii has more playmakers, more talented, more experienced. I like the Warriors. Another ugly underdog, Colorado State +14 at Oregon State. The Rams have been terrible to start the season, but going into the year, I rated them higher than Oregon State. A bye week, I think Colorado State's going to have a little bit together. This is way too many points. And so far on the show, I think I've given 7 straight underdogs, so I got to give one favorite. Boise State is worth the hype. -25.5 against Utah State, one of the worst teams in the nation. I don't mind laying that at all, so Boise State -25.5.
Kip and Tony here in our last couple of weeks here. Boston College, North Carolina. Mac Brown, they started off the season so bad. They played really, really well the last couple of games. Of course, it was against Virginia, Wake Forest, and FSU.
Yeah.
Bye week is not going to play well here because they got a 3-game winning streak. As a matter of fact, he is 5-11. I say he, Mac Brown, 5-11 against the spread as a road favorite in league play. Bill O'Brien, bowl eligible in his first season with Boston College with the victory. Going on later on today, he gets it done, plus the points, take Boston College.
I like it.
I like that. We got Thanksgiving coming up on some Gophers. Let's go some Gophers, baby. PJ Fleck is 11-5 against the spread when his team gets 10 or more days to get ready. And since transfer Max Brosmer took over quarterback, they are 113th in rushing capability, which means they are slinging the football all over the place.
Yep.
Max's numbers get better and better every single week. 2 elite defenses, no monster plays. I love Minnesota, plus the 12.5 in this ball game. I think they're going to get done against Penn State. Plus, I don't think Penn State, I still don't think they're a top 5 team.
Fraud.
And a team that I really don't want to pick, but I'm going to have to because I just think they're the real deal. They're the Cincinnati Bengals of college football. It's Kansas. They're catching 3 against Colorado. 6 of Colorado's wins are against teams that are 16-26 overall. Kansas has gone 2-1 the last 3 games. They played top 3 teams in the league the last 3 weeks. Lance Leopold 17-7-1 against the spread as a home dog, and after starting 1-5, Kansas could be going to a bowl game this year, but they've got to beat Colorado first, and I think this is a good game for Colorado to look past and get tripped up.
Definitely. They would ruin the primetime party.
They would, and they're only catching 3 points. Again, it seems like every time I see a game, Kansas is +3. I mean, it's like Kansas is +3 almost every single week.
Case Keefer's alma mater, Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
No doubt. Hey, listen, we're going to be back again next week. Next Saturday, it's going to be Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy your great week. We hope you have the entire weekend off. We're going to be working through it, getting ready for some more college football in the CFP. We can't wait. Get ready for a full day of great college football. It starts right now on ABC 3340.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy!